Welcome on in, guys. Tobin here with you. Thanks for checking out the channel. If you guys could subscribe, that'd be really great. If you guys are just stopping by, thank you for stopping by. I didn't get a chance to talk about this yesterday very much because I was traveling back from Indiana, which, God, I am so happy to be back in South Florida. Strangely enough, the last piece, because my trip was so Indiana, but just to really put a bow on it, I'm like, who is that coming onto the plane here on this last minute, because I had to do a last minute switcheroo. I would have ended up having to do a layover in Philadelphia, which, but I'm like, is that Obi Toppin who was on my flight? Sure enough, there he was. Pacers high flyer Obi Toppin was on board. I'm surprised he probably wasn't getting a burger at their Pacers sports bar that was in there. Brr. But one piece of news I did not get to react to yesterday was the great news. Josh Christopher from the Miami Heat Summer League squad, the champion Miami Heat Summer League squad, Summer League Finals MVP, Josh Christopher, that he is getting one of the Miami Heat's two-way deals. That the Miami Heat decided yesterday to waive Zion Pollin and Josh Christopher, who, I mean, just so deserved for how he played. If you're just talking about both of these guys and what they before, it wasn't even close. The fact that Josh Christopher comes out, he has been with the Miami Heat since May. A guy, if you heard some of his story, Udonis Haslem had reached out to him, but he was just showed a lot of great leadership, had big onions with big time moments, shot the lights out. It just brought a little bit of everything, was an igniter on offense. So if you're going to talk about anybody really deserving it, obviously Keyshawn Johnson getting the deal that he did out of the undrafted forward from Arizona. He obviously made a great impression. So boom, that's obvious. Had to knock him off. And then Josh Christopher certainly deserved it more than Zion. Look, Zion might still go to Sioux Falls. Like, it doesn't mean it's the end of his Heat journey. He could end up going to camp, could end up going to Sioux Falls. We've seen this story before. It's not necessarily the end of somebody and their Heat run. And for Josh Christopher, you just feel great because this guy has absolutely put in the work. He's been tremendous. And now Miami can get him into the fold for a two-way deal. Just for those who don't know how that works, this is from Ira Winderman, just an explanation. It's a two-way deal, and that pays you half the NBA minimum salary, and it allows a player to be active for 50 of the 82 regular season games. Now, the one thing with two-way deals is you cannot be used in the postseason, so you need to be on a standard deal. Miami Heat currently has 14 active spots that are up there. They are keeping it with one spot under because they're right up against that second apron. So they're probably going to bring somebody in prorated in the middle of the year. And then the two ways right now, Josh Christopher, Keyshawn Johnson, and then Drew Smith. And I just got to say as an aside, I reprimanded my producer about this earlier, which I missed you, Frog Boy. But Heat fans, you got to stop being assholes about Drew Smith. I truly believe the bullying that's going on for Drew Smith is very, very unbecoming of Heat fans. First of all, you're not losing Isaiah Stevens. He's going to come to camp, right? He signed a camp contract. So I don't understand this need to just take a blowtorch to this poor kid who is coming off a nasty knee injury. He missed all of the season yesterday because that damn Cleveland court is elevated. Drew Smith has been in the Heat system for a couple of years. I understand. You don't see, there's a lot of flash there. Everybody wants the shiny prospect. Everybody wants to see the guy who's going to have the big boom. Used to get in this argument all the time with Heat fans about keeping Udonis Haslem on a roster spot. And yeah, believe it or not, there were ingrates who did not want Udonis Haslem to have a roster spot. And I used to say, are you really, truly serious about the 15th guy on a roster if the coaching staff really adores having Udonis Haslem in the locker room? He's never going to play. They're never going to play. There's never a situation they're going to play. Now, some guy could come to me now I can see the hipster on Heat Twitter right now who goes, oh, well, that's the way to put it. You pride yourself on player development and you're capping yourself off. No, but here is the thing. One, maybe Drew Smith still doesn't make the team. Not a guarantee that he's going to make the team, but everybody is like, they're circling the buzzards. Like, I feel like somebody's going to celebrate the day that he gets cut. And I just think it's asshole behavior from the Heat fan, because I look at it like this. They gave their two-way contracts. One, awesome wing guy, looks like he is going to be on this Heat roster for the future. Love the fact they brought Keyshawn. Two, Josh Christopher totally earned his way, outperformed the other guy who had a two-way contract. Cool. So let's look at the other prospects that could do it. Cole Swider and Alondes Williams, right? Like, those are probably the other two where you're like, what do they want to be? Well, first of all, I'd imagine Cole Swider doesn't want a two-way deal. I imagine Cole Swider wants a standard deal. And so we don't know that Cole Swider wants to do the Sioux Falls, Alondes Williams wants to do the Sioux Falls dance. Second of all, let's say that they don't. Okay. You would say, well, why don't you keep a guy like Zion Poland and keep somebody who's got, or give it to an Isaiah Stevens if it comes to that? Maybe they will. But right off the bat, maybe they want to get into a camp and see if if Spo, who has not really had time with the kid, really wants to see that he's ready. Because you think about these guys, in a two-way deal, why do you have that guy, right? You really were probably going to have that guy on an injury pinch. And if you really truly think about it, it's almost like having an emergency quarterback. You have Drew Smith, who is running NBA offense, who knows the Heat system, who knows the Heat sets. And let's just say you get into a situation like last year where a ton of dudes get hurt and you just need somebody on a given night. Boom, there he is. Could you just say, hey, let's throw the young undrafted? Yeah, you could, but I do think let's say the Miami Heat are in the midst of contention or in the midst of a good run and they need it in a spot night on a back-to-back, whatever. I just think there's a level of Spo security blanket that he has in this young man in Drew Smith that maybe the fans don't see, but I do feel like the coaching staff and the scouting department should get the benefit of the doubt as to why he still holds one of those pieces. Okay? There are some things that I don't think that fans can wrap their mind around because they just think, I'm tired of this guy. I want something new. We know he's not going to be a star. Okay, I agree with you. Stats are not very impressive. Drew Smith is probably not going to be a star. However, that doesn't mean that in a certain situation, is he unplayable? No, I don't think that he is. I don't want him being out there for 40 games, for right now. But in a pinch, do the Miami Heat need somebody that they can go to? I think for right now, it's okay to hold on to. And I think that for the Alondes Williams, I agree that Alondes Williams, much more explosive, looks like he could do some crazy things, crazy dynamics. Talent looks off the roof, had the dunk of the summer league. Do I want to lose Alondes Williams? No. But odds are the Heat going to go to Alondes Williams in a pinch like that on this roster? I'm not sure. And again, I don't necessarily know if Alondes Williams wants to go the two-way route. Maybe he thinks of himself as somebody who wants to get a standard contract. Maybe he wants to wait it out until he can give out a standard contract and doesn't want to do that up and down. I mean, he was the most improved player. Here's the thing. You look at guys like Alondes Williams and you look at guys like Cole Swider. Alondes Williams last year was the most improved player in the G League. What's left for him to do there? You look at a guy like Cole Swider. Cole Swider shot nearly 50% from three last year from the G League. What's left for him to do there? So are those guys really gung-ho about signing two-way contracts? I don't know. That's another element to this that we're not quite sure of. So I basically am saying this because I feel like people are piling on Drew Smith. I don't think it's very nice of the fan base to do that because he hasn't really done one thing one way or the other for anybody to have this much hostility towards him. It's not like he is a bad player. He's not a fat cat who's made $30 million for the Heat and scored 4 points a game. He is trying to remain in the league and is probably doing it by the skin of his teeth right now with how many guys could maybe take that spot. But man, everybody's hosing him down. And I don't love the look of that from Heat fans. I really don't. I don't think it's cool. I think, and I say this, I don't really know Drew Smith. I've never, to my knowledge, remember even asking him a question at a press conference or anything like that. I just find that that behavior from a Heat fan is kind of unnecessary. Like you're so running up the score on a guy who has done nothing wrong. Nothing wrong. And you're not really losing anybody right now. If this becomes if Drew Smith becomes the reason that Cole Swider ends up on the Pacers and bites your ass, okay, you'll come back to this. Say, Tobin, you told me not to be a dick to Drew Smith, and look at this. Cole Swider burned us in a Game 4 for the Pacers. I'll be like, you know what? I'm sorry I missed. They should have kept Cole Swider, but I still maintain you shouldn't have been a dick to Drew Smith. I don't know why I went on this soapbox about this, but I feel like people are bullying the poor guy. It's ridiculous to me. So either way, I'm happy for Josh Christopher getting his roster spot. He deserves it. Seems like another great project for the Miami Heat. Former first-round pick, number 24 overall, and they really look like they've tapped into something here with him.